These are the DJI Goggles N3. Very affordable solution to getting FPV without paying truckloads of money for some very decent goggles. These are the more expensive Goggles 3 that came out with the Avata 2. And these are some of the models that some of these things work with and some don't. So, super quick video today on exactly which controller, which set of goggles works with which drone, and crucially, how to get them working. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and yes, since my review on the new Goggles N3 the other day, I have had endless questions on which drones will work with which controllers and crucially with the new Goggles N3 and which ones can only work with the Goggles 3. First off though, look, before I get into this, can I just ask one simple favour? Do not shoot the messenger here. If you don't like what I'm saying, do not click the thumb down button, because all that's going to do is tell YouTube that you don't like my videos, nothing more. Click the thumb up button. Help me along with the video. Let's get straight to it. So first off, look, I actually want to go through the Goggles 3. These are the premium goggles. They were £579, and I want to go through these first because it shows the wider picture of compatibility when there is a will. The Goggles 3 are impressive. They work with the Neo, the Avata 2, Mini 4 Pro, and the Air 3. And according to DJI, they will soon be working with the Air 3S as well. Huge range of compatibility. So to me, brilliant, but it's not quite that straightforward. For the Air 3 and the Mini 4 Pro, you will have to use the Motion Controller 3. For the Avata 2 and the Neo, you can use the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC remote. So as you can see, if you're happy to spend the money, the premium Goggles 3 will work with most OcuSync 4 models. Sadly not so with the new Goggles N3. Now it's clear that DJI have launched these as a more affordable FPV solution, primarily aimed at the Neo because, as I said in my previous video, most people that bought the Avata 2 will have already bought a pair of goggles. So basically, the new Goggles N3 will work with DJI's two newest FPV drones. And as of today, that's it, the Avata 2 and the Neo. No other models. DJI Goggles N3 will not work with the Mini 4 Pro or the A3S or the Air 3 or any other model. And I've been advised by DJI that currently there is no further compatibility expansion planned, which was a bit disappointing to hear. But I guess it's because they want these to be very much aimed at the budget end of the market. The Neo is a surprisingly impressive drone for its price, as are the Goggles N3. Impressive partner to the Neo at an impressive price. Budget FPV for under £500 or dollars. And I guess that's how they want to keep it. Not something I necessarily agree with at all, but there we are. So to be clear, if you want to fly the Neo or the Avata 2 with the Goggles N3, then you're going to have the choice of using the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC remote that came with the Avata 2. So I need to make this clear. Despite the Neo working with the RC2 or the RC N3 remote, the one without the screen, you can only use the Goggles N3 with the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC. So that's what will work with what. If you had the Neo and you've just bought the Goggles N3, you will have to buy the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC in order to use the goggles with them. So that is the compatibility. That's what will work with what. Just want to go through quickly on how to pair things up, because it is pretty easy once you know what to do. But if you don't, it's actually a nightmare. The main thing to remember is that the goggles are nothing more than a screen with the Fly app embedded. The goggles cannot control the drone by itself, and they're only going to work with either the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC. So all three things, the drone, the goggles and the controller, have to be linked in order to fly. And the setup is the same, whether or not you're using the Neo or the Avata 2, and whether or not you're using the Goggles 3 or the N3, and whether or not you're using the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC. Once you actually get the pairing process done, it's the same no matter which combination you're using. So to start off, get all three things powered on. And once they're booted up, you need to get things into pairing mode to link up. So start with the drone first, just long press the power button, and it'll make a bleep, and now the lights are flashing in a different way. Then you're going to pair the goggles. So again, with them on, long press. And you'll hear them bleeping, and then it bleeps again to to say that they've actually all paired up. Should happen literally within 2 or 3 seconds. If it doesn't happen, say after 10 seconds, switch everything off, switch back on and start again. So once the goggles and the drone are paired up, you then also need to pair up the controller, be it the Motion Controller 3 or the FPV RC, and you need to pair those up with the goggles as well. So again, with everything powered on, just long press the goggles. You hear it bleeping. Then with the controller powered on, and there we go. Both are paired up. Now, with both the goggles and the controller paired to the drone, you should be good to fly, and you'll see the camera view in your goggles. Finally, I probably need to mention, if you've got more than one drone and you need to go through that pairing process again with the other model drones as well, but crucially, you only have to pair a drone to a controller once. Once you've paired 2 devices together, they will remember each other. And all you actually have to do is switch things over in the settings if you're flying one drone or the other drone. So if you were flying the Neo and want to swap it over to the Avata 2, then you put the goggles on and you navigate to the main settings on the left. Then select status. And at the top, you've got the option to switch. And in there, you're going to be able to switch the goggles over to work with the other model drone that you've already gone through the pairing process with. Likewise, if you're using the Goggles 3 with the Avata 2, when you go into that same switch mode, you can see the full list of drones that you can actually try and pair up with and switch over to. It is quite easy to hop between, say, the Neo and the Avata 2 with the same set of goggles just by going to that status and then switch model drone. So that's it. Lord, you have to say, straightforward once you know what's what, but otherwise it can get very messy, especially if you're trying to control things with, say, the RC2 and the goggles at the same time. It just won't work. So as I said, please do not thumb me down. If you don't like this situation, feel free to let your feelings be known in the comments below, as not only do I like reading them, but I know DJI do keep an eye on these comments sometimes as well. Maybe get onto the DJI forum as well and make your voice heard there, as DJI definitely do monitor that forum as well. For me, as ever, give me a little thumbs up if this has helped you get stuff working and paired. Till next time, have fun, happy flying.